Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion. We are here for our Cricket World Cup show. There's a big clash going on tomorrow. Of course, England face Australia in Group B in the Kensington Oval tomorrow. And it is a do or die game, right? So we definitely want to preview this game, take a look at their chances and the group, see how this group is shaping up. Of course, I'm joined by my good friend Wendell George, apparently former cricketer as well. So he's very knowledgeable in the sport. Wendell, thanks for coming through, bro.
Hi, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Before we dive into the crux of the matter, what's your thoughts on the tournament so far? Some great matches from unlikely teams, right?
Yeah.
Namibia Oman was way more exciting than we thought it would have been. I was there live at that game and it was very
Wow.
good. It was a very good encounter. USA providing
USA
some great
Pakistan.
entertainment. So, what's your thoughts? Who stands out for you so far?
For me so far, of course, there's the favorites, Australia and of course West Indies. I really like West Indies this tournament, looking very good, especially with the players fresh off of IPL and all of those things. But I really appreciate how these smaller teams they're really getting better and they're
Mm,
playing better. I don't think a couple of years ago, even 5, 6 years ago, the tournament would have been the same level with all of these smaller teams in it.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad you say that. So, there's this big. Do you think that there should be some, what's the word I'm looking for, that the associate teams should
Mhm.
be allowed to play the so-called, like, the top eight should be allowed to tour in the West Indies, should be allowed to tour in England, to show their metal and to show that they really can play because they can compete. They
Yeah.
clearly can compete because playing amongst themselves is only so much that they can advance and develop their skills, but
Of
clearly
course.
they can compete. Do you think it's time that the ICC or the powers that be look into having the associate teams have more tours and more matches against the so-called top eight or the big boys of the cricket world?
I think it's a process. This tournament clearly shows that there are some teams that can really compete with the big dogs of the world. However, moving forward, I think in the future they could slowly integrate those teams into, and they have started. Like Netherlands would play West Indies in a warm-up game and all
Mm.
these things. But in the future, maybe there will be the space because if USA could beat Pakistan and it could come down to those ways, why can't USA tour Pakistan?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think it'll be very interesting moving forward and in the future how ICC decides to integrate all of these teams because I know there's a promotion based, I believe, currently with the top eight playing and with the associate teams to more integrate it and get it going. But it's cricket is going in a great direction currently.
Yeah. Now, I guess let's talk about it one time. Let's just get into it. So we're gonna focus on Group B right now. So we could touch on the others because of course it is very exciting right now. Afghanistan are playing New Zealand. Up to when
Mm-hmm.
I just checked, there was no loss of any wickets, and Afghanistan is in the favorites for some people's semifinals. I myself put them in my semifinal predictions. So and they're playing against New Zealand. But we'll get there. We'll talk about that later
Yeah.
on. But Group B, let's look
Mm-hmm.
at Group B. Let's break down Group B. So Group B has, I can't believe, look at that. So Scotland, Australia, Namibia, England, Oman. So Scotland with 3 points after 2 games, Australia with two after one, Namibia with two after two, and England with one after one, and Oman with no points so far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, initially we're going into this tournament looking at this group, it would no one would have faulted
Of course.
anyone if they said England, Australia
Yeah.
automatically coming out, right? Maybe a chance for Scotland because most of us know Scotland's pedigree. We won't doubt in Scotland, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously England and Australia should as I said, going into this tournament, should have more than enough firepower
Yeah.
for to come out of this group. But again, I was at this game, the Scotland England game. Rain ruined it, and I'm telling you, Wendell, I think Scotland should have and could have, if barring the rain, I think they
Mhm.
would have beat England.
Wow.
Pushed them all the way. What's your thoughts on Scotland so far in this tournament?
I didn't get to watch the Scotland England start game actually. I was at work. But watching the scoreline and watching the scores, I saw they got off the flying start and they really got hurt by the rain. So it would have been interesting to see how they would have held their mettle because a lot of the time, these smaller teams, they're able to play very, very well in spurts. But what really happens is the bigger teams are able to play longer periods of times at the higher level and they'll be able to hold their mettle a little bit better because they've been on at this occasion many times and they've been in multiple situations playing against heavy competition and great competition. So it would have been very interesting to see the entire game.
Yeah. No, but it would have. It definitely would have. Then we saw that they went on to defeat Namibia in very convincing fashion.
Mhm.
Now that puts the group in a very interesting position. Now that Scotland are top, Australia second. Now, if England
Mhm.
lose tomorrow, they are basically out, virtually out. They're out. They are
Yeah.
automatically out of the tournament after just 2 games.
Mhm.
Wonder what can they do tomorrow to prevent this? How do they have to? What strategy? What they have to do? How that can they take advantage of the pitch who has opened the bowling? What that can they do against Australia tomorrow to ensure that they still have a lifeline in this tournament?
It's interesting. It's interesting because both teams have top of the line pacers, and in Barbados especially, that is essential. The ball doesn't really turn much on these Barbados wickets, and it will be really interesting to see the likes of Joshua Archer, the likes of Cummins, the likes of Mitchell Stark, because Mitchell Stark actually came off in the first game with slight cramps and all those things. So hopefully he's back and he's ready to be able to play at the highest level. I think David Warner is going to be an interesting player because
Hmm.
considering this may be his last time at a World Cup situation in Australian colours and all these things, I think he's coming out to play. But I really think Joshua Archer holds the key in at his hometown because he's playing at home and he was in Barbados for the last couple months playing on at the regional level, not regional, the local level with his local old team. So it's going to be very interesting.
No, you mentioned Jeffrey Archer. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think he didn't? To me, didn't look too hot in that game against
Mm-hmm.
Scotland. Maybe just first game jitters, the occasion. When he entered the attack, the whole stadium went to a frenzy. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
homecoming back on West Indies soil. Do you think he has what it takes to help England over the line against Australia?
I I I think so. If there's anyone to do it on that England team in terms of their bowling and their fast bowling, I think Jofra Archer is the man. He's one of the most exciting pace bowlers in world cricket right now. Yes, he was injured for a little while, but I think it's really just building himself back up to where he was bowling like in the Ashes, I believe, a year ago, and really performing at a very high level.
Now, who else? So, who else in this England team has to step up? Because you mentioned some of the Australians, but who else in this English team has to step up and putting up a big performance for them tomorrow?
I think the bowling attack, there has not been many high scores really yet in the this tournament, considering last month we've been seeing over 200 in the IPL almost every single game. So I really think if I was a betting man, I would bet on both sides going over 160 tomorrow. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the team that bowls better is definitely going to win the game.
What you do first? You win the toss, right? What you'll do first?
Always field in a T20. Always bat second in a
Mm-hmm.
T20.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to
Mm-hmm.
chase in a T20. Know what you're going at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can say that, but I thought the same thing when Scotland chose to bat. I was like, Scotland, but it was a great
Mhm.
choice. It was a great toss. It was a really great decision. No,
Well, mhm.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
It's interesting because of the amount of rain that is falling. I
Hmm.
think chasing may always be the better situation for this particular World Cup because of the rain, especially with how Duckworth Lewis and all those things are calculated, especially
Hmm.
knowing that England is in the position that they are, where run rate may become critical. I think no, however that wicket is looking, England will look to chase tomorrow.
No, that's a very good point because that's a very good point. We saw that with Scotland, the overs were reduced and they would have felt hard done by because the
Yes,
chase 90, yeah,
yes.
in 10 overs, yeah, they would have felt hard done by after all that hard work. I know they have to defend 90 runs. Not saying they
Yeah.
couldn't, but still, yeah,
Mhm.
90 runs in 10 overs is not a terrible, a formidable or insurmountable task.
Yeah.
So that is a very good point, especially with the conditions and unpredictability of the rain.
Mhm.
Yesterday, it had rain in the Namibia Scotland game, but thankfully, it was not enough to ruin the party. So, yes, that is a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Now, if the thing is, to England is a side that is an Asian team, they know, you have to. Is it? Do we? How this? I want to say this real delicately, right? Of
Mhm.
course, it is never good, obviously, for a big team like England to get knocked out early on. But is
Mhm.
it that we just say, okay, fine, Asian team, or do we say, fine, the first game was just pure bad luck,
Mhm.
or no excuse at all? No excuse. They should not be in this position because it's a tough one. It's a tricky one. The first game was not their fault, right? Not their fault, and now
Yeah.
they're facing. If they were playing against them, maybe second. Oh man,
Mhm.
right? Right. But
Yeah.
of all the teams that they had to face in their second match to keep them in the
Mhm.
tournament, I
Yeah.
don't know what now. It's a tough one. Is it that because we can't be harsh on England for it? Can we? Can we? How do we analyze
No.
it? It's a tricky one.
No, we really can't. They were very, very unlucky in the first game. And it really is hard to then, after the first game, go under the pump against Australia, who are the they won the last T20 World Cup, and they also they're in form. They are playing well. All of their players are not only rested, but all of them are batting well. They're bowling well. I believe in the Australian team, the only player that I could really say has not been in much form is Glenn Maxwell, who has been abysmal in the last couple of games. But other than that, they've been playing very well. Mitchell Stark, fresh off of a excellent IPL tour. So it'll be interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. And England as the defending champs, not sure, Australia, England as the defending champs, it will be
Mm-hmm.
very, sad and very difficult. It'll just be sad to see them just bow out like that. But this
Yeah.
is sports, this is life, and they really need to turn up tomorrow. Now, Australia looked okay against
Mm-hmm.
Oman. Oman did put up a decent fight, must say.
Yeah.
But I think Stones, David, one of these guys,
Mm-hmm.
I think Mitchell Stark, I think they are more than enough unless England really turn up because they didn't look good. If you bowl in attack, it's not gonna look good against Scotland. What do you think is gonna do against Australia? Right? I
Mm-hmm.
think they really, really need to come good. They have to find that sweet spot on the pitch. They have to hope for good weather, as you say, and
Yeah.
really try to, I don't know, really, really put Australia under the cosh early. If they
Mm-hmm.
do, do what you say, if they do bowl first, which I
Yeah.
think is the wisest option, they definitely have to. And on that pitch, what do you think is a good score they'll be pleased with chase on that pitch?
Of course, it depends on the day. I do know that they are playing on the fresh pitch. No one has played on that for the tournament, so it will be interesting to see how the pitch is playing. Usually in Barbados, as I said, the pitches are faster because, of course, the island is made up of coral, and with those, the turfs are a lot harder, which will make a fast bowling track. It doesn't really turn that much. So it will be very interesting to see how the spinners handle it, because I know on Australian team you'll probably get Adam Zampa coming in to bowl his
Right,
leg break.
right.
So it will be very interesting to see how Adam Zampa gets on the wicket as well.
Yeah. Just to mention while we live,
Mm-hmm.
Afghanistan are doing their thing. Well, Afghanistan are 103 without loss. Trent Bowler's been in the attack. Matt Henry's been in the attack. Mitchell Sutton has been in the attack. Lucky Ferguson has been in the attack. Right?
Yeah.
Bracewell, Sutton, and Ferguson have all as and Trent Bowl, sorry, have all given 3 overs so far.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Afghanistan looking really good. Maybe somebody we have to keep an eye on. Brian Lara was one of the big celebrities that put them in the semis in his prediction. I said we
Mm-hmm.
did it as well on this channel. All right, Afghanistan looking good, looking very good. So, what are your predictions for tomorrow, Wendell? What's your score prediction?
Um,
The score, sorry, but prediction. Who's gonna win tomorrow?
my predictions for tomorrow. I depend on who wins the toss. For sake of argument, I'll say England wins the toss and they choose to bowl first.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's critical to reduce Australia to under 160 runs,
Mm,
ideally around the 140, 150 mark. And they trust in their batsmen. I think it's really important. Joss Butler, their captain, and of course the dark horse in terms of Will Jacks, hasn't had much World Cup experience, but he had a fantastic IPL. I scoring almost, I think it was nearly the fastest 100. It was insane how he accelerated his innings. So it will be, I think, coming down into the later overs, Australia will need to bowl very well. But I think England, based on their desperation and need for the win, I think England will take it over Australia.
okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Just for the romance of the tournament, I think England should win. Should
Yeah.
win. Eh, but
Mhm.
boy,
It's a tough call. It's a flip of a coin.
it's tough. It's tough because Australia is Australia. You can say
Yeah.
what you want. Australia is
Hmm.
Australia. They are just that team, right? They are
Yeah.
just that team, and I think to me, England bowling attack for me that hot. Yes, Moeen Ali, but I'm not feeling. I'm really not feeling them. Archer and Wood have to come real good. We know what they could do.
Mhm.
We know what they're capable of, and maybe it's just one of those scenarios. They might just turn up a little extra because it's Australia.
Yeah. It's
Maybe,
dire. They need the win. When it's
yeah,
desperation.
do
They
or die.
need that win.
Yeah, it's do or die. It is do or
Yeah.
die. There is no two ways about it. No, if no buts, no maybes. You have to win. Right.
Hmm.
Before we dive off, I guess we could just take a quick gander at some of the other groups how they are shaping.
Yep.
So Group A, most interestingly, Wendell, look at Group A. Who would have thunk it? Who would
No,
have thunk
that's
it? The
crazy.
United States are on top of a group that
Hmm.
has India,
Hmm.
Pakistan, and
Hmm.
Ireland. And Ireland is normally a team that causes upsets, a team that you look for to
Yep.
challenge. And Canada has defeated them today.
Yep.
India
Yep.
has
Yep.
defeated them so far. Well, I mean, it's India. And Canada was a big win, right? So they have 2 points on the board. India with 2 points on the board. And after 2 games, the
Mhm.
United States of A have 4 points. Wendell, thoughts on that?
I I I shouldn't really be saying this. I was at work driving around and I saw that they was going to super over. I stopped immediately to go and walked into a barber shop to watch the end of the game.
Yeah.
Everybody was glued to the TV, supporting cricket, watching cricket, and that's what the tournament needs. The tournament needs exciting games where people are just looking at it. They don't necessarily back any team. It's just exciting cricket. And
Yeah.
well, Pakistan Pakistan fell apart in the end. And I don't know if you watched the Super Over, but the Super Over
Yes, yes,
Pakistan
yes.
behalf was not very good at all. They gave away runs in the field. They were bowling wide. They were playing the full. It almost looked as though United States was the team that has been there, and it's I don't know what happened to Pakistan, but that is excellent on United States part, and there are some really good players coming out to the United States. I really do hope that they continue, and of course, it's the states, so they will develop their team and they will develop
Yes.
their cricket. I hope they develop their grounds as well because they
Mm.
been very
Well,
good.
well, I was
So,
going. I'm glad you mentioned that because right now I'm writing an article on that, and I'm glad you mentioned that people are. No, I don't. I don't. If I'm sure you're aware. As a person that follows cricket, there's always this beef
mhm,
with. Once it's not IPL,
mhm,
everything else is trash, right? So everyone
mhm.
is waiting for this tournament to fail. And the
Yeah.
pitches in America have not been so hot. But I think we have to let common sense prevail, Wendell.
Mhm.
These pitches were literally laid down, what, 3 weeks ago,
Yep.
a month ago, two
Yep.
months ago. They
Yep.
won't they won't set in yet. They won't run in
Mhm.
yet, right? It's not to say a limited overs tournament was played there or something
Mhm.
to, running the pitch and get it set. And nothing. They literally created these pitches for
Mhm.
this tournament. So obviously, the first games, they are not going to be of the highest. You have to find a
Mhm.
way to adapt, overcome. These are professional sportsmen,
Yep.
right? We should, and so far, funny enough, as much as we are about talking the pitches, the most exciting games so far have come
Mhm.
from there. The Canada America game. Look at the high score. That's the highest score we've had so far.
Mhm.
Highest scoring game we've had so far from two associate teams. So
As my
yeah,
coach always say, both teams has to bat on the wicket, both teams has to bowl on the wicket. So the only complaints about this happening and that happening, both teams have to bat.
both
So
teams have
it's not to say there's any advantage.
right? Of course, Group C, the one that we will be paying close attention to. This is a very interesting group. Afghanistan on top after 1 game, 2 points. West Indies on top, 1 game, 2 points. Uganda, the newcomers, with a big win over Papua New Guinea, 2 points after 2 games. Of course, New Zealand starting their tournament tonight. They did take a wicket, so it was 108 for one, right? Gurbaz, a name that we are all familiar with here because of CPL. He's at the crease on 56 runs, doing his usual hard hitting style, right? So that's another interesting group. Afghanistan looking good. Afghanistan looking really good and
Very good.
proving why they are favorites to go to at least reach as far as the semi. So looking really good. But West Indies should come out of this group. Are you confident in that one?
Yes, I'm pretty confident. I think the first game they had a couple hiccups with our batting, but that's first game jitters. I'm glad that we came out with the win because that's really all that matters. Get the win and move on. And yeah, I'm pretty confident in West Indies coming out of the group. I really like West Indies team structure. I did have initial complaints over Ruston Chase's pick. I was really surprised that he got picked over both Shea Hope
Mhm,
and
mhm.
Hetmeyer. But he proved this point. He made me eat my words immediately. And I really do hope that in the years that we did win the World Cup, we had one key player, not necessarily a huge big hitter in Marlon Samuels, who was critical in those wins. So I really do hope that Ruston Chase can play that Marlon Samuels role of being able to rotate the strike, hit the boundary when needed, and allow our big hitters like the likes of um, Puran and Russell and all these players to be able to come in at the right time because all of them are situational players. Any one of them can come and score 50 off 20 balls on any given day. And it's just the opportunity to be able to put them in the right positions to be able to excel.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Now, of course, Group D. One of the games are going on there right now. Bangladesh up in Sri Lanka right now. South Africa up top with 2 points after one. Netherlands, with 2 points after one. Of course, Nepal no win and Sri Lanka no win and Bangladesh starting tournament tonight. They chose to
Yes.
field, and Sri Lanka currently 25-1. Wendell just said it in T20. Always chase, always chase.
Always
Right?
chase.
So always chase, hey, always chase. Hopefully, England won't be chasing the plane, but will be chasing glory. Well, not glory, because we want West Indies to win, but hopefully England will
Yeah.
not be, heading to the airport. They will be moving on and progressing, but we will see. It is the mighty Australians that they are facing tomorrow. Big, 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 big game tomorrow. Any closing words, final thoughts, anything else before we sign off there, Wendell? Any other thoughts, analysis, any talent that jumped out at you so far? Any like players you never seen before, bowlers, batsmen, anybody that jump out at you like, they're on your radar? Anyone at all? Anything?
Well, I'm actually hoping to catch a lot more games moving forward. I've been honest, I have not had much time to really look at all of the games. And considering these teams and these associate teams are playing really well, it will be very good to watch the games and see all the players, because at the end of the day, when these players put up good numbers, they play good innings, it's an opportunity to get. Nowadays in cricket, there are so many leagues all over the world, and there's an opportunity to play cricket almost anywhere. So these associate teams is really good that they're putting up a fight and showing the ICC that we can compete with the big dogs. So in the future, you never know. These players have the opportunity to go and play in the IPLs and the CPLs, and I'm sure you'll see some of the players that have been playing now in the CPL very soon, considering that they are playing so well.
Yeah. Actually, the European qualifiers for the 2026 start on Sunday. That'll be in Italy. So players, teams like Austria, Turkey, these kind of teams. Austria, sorry, will be, and other associate teams like that. Those European teams will be qualifying for the other qualifying round. That's for the 2026 T20 World Cup. So that's starting on Sunday. So here are those kind of teams, Italy and stuff. So very interesting.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
you never know. You never know who's going to be the next team that comes up and causes upsets, that causes, But I think, for me personally, I just think it's diabolical that at least the creme de la creme of the associate teams are not allowed yet to tour more, like the top eight, at least tour Pakistan, tour Bangladesh, come to the West Indies. I would love a Scotland West Indies tour. I think that'll be brilliant, right? Things like that, right? I have to do a shameless plug though. I wanna big up Ruben. Got to meet Ruben Choppelman here from Namibia. This was after his when he took the 4 wickets against Oman. Brilliant chap. And I even got to meet amongst them up after at a place called Savi. He was just hanging out with some of the team. So yeah, man, big, real good bloke. And I was glad for him yesterday. He got 1 wicket in the defeat. But yeah, big up. I hope you have a good tournament. Big up Namibia. Real good team, man. Real good team. But so far, I'm enjoying it. This has been a really good tournament so far, despite the pitches and the complaints. But I think the turnout for some of the games has been pretty good too, as well. And I said I was on the ground in Barbados. It wasn't bad turnout. People seem excited and buzzing. And as you can see in the other grounds, the games have been pretty good, pretty exciting. And I mean, look at Afghanistan right now. I can't wait to go and turn on that match. So a lot of excitement to come, and it's only just begun. There's still a few more rounds to go again before we even reach the Super 8. The Super 8 might look very interesting. The Super 8 could involve USA. The Super 8 could involve Scotland, right? That's 2 associate teams, and it could not involve England, could not involve Pakistan, could not involve Sri Lanka. Right, just let us think in. So, but I want to thank everyone. We had a nice little live vibe. No one chatted, but that's all right. You could always leave a comment after the live. Let us know what you thought about the show. Let us know what you think about the tournament. Where you're watching us from, who you're supporting. Right, I want to thank Wendell for coming on for this quick show, just 30 minutes. That was great timing, and we hope for a really good cracker tomorrow. Australia versus England. Let us know where you're going to be watching the game from. It's going to be a really good one. And I'm excited, Wendell, when the games finally come to Trinidad, when we have Uganda, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand next week, and of course the West Indies. I'll be at all those games in Taruba. Cannot wait to be on the
there
ground.
too. I'll be locked in. I'll be locked in. Not missing that. This is a World Cup.
World Cup run has been a great one so far. Can't wait to see how it unfolds. So thanks everyone for watching live on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll see you all in the next one. Take care.